Right, I'm here with Andrew Webster, head coach of the New Zealand Warriors. Let's just do an icebreaker to start off with.
Yep.
You're affectionately known as Webby.
Yes.
By Wars fans. What other nicknames have you had?
Web Dog. I think that's just when my mates don't know what to call me. They just made that one up. Webinator. I'm making these up. No, I don't know, mate. That's Webby's.
You happy with Webby?
Yeah, I'll be happy with that one. Yeah.
What initially drew you to the sport of rugby league?
Just family, really. My dad played rugby league and loved it. All my mum's brothers played. My mum's father. So it's just something that's been in the family forever. So yeah, I guess I did have a choice because my parents always let me do what I wanted to do. But I think having an older brother that played it before I did, and I can remember wars in the backyard, fighting each other and playing footy. So I think it's just been in the blood.
Fantastic. Was there a wee bit of cricket out the backyard as well during summer?
Yeah, that was. We used to have test matches, so we'd play a full session like a test match, have a swim in the pool, and then we'd go second session swim. But you weren't allowed to have a swim in the pool until you finished that session of cricket.
I guess when we were doing that as kids, we used to pretend we were one of the stars of the day. Who was the star that you wanted to be?
Alan Border, left-hander, Australian cricketer. Yeah, he was my favourite. I had the Duncan family bat that he had, and he was the captain of Australia at the time, and I wanted to be like Alan Border.
Back to rugby league. Can you just tell us a wee bit about your time as a player first?
Yep. It's a short story.
Yeah,
it's a short story. I played lower grades with Balmain Tigers. I started all my junior pathways there, got picked into representative teams, and then got the training with first grade, got close but not good enough, and then I went and had a year at Parramatta, and it was exactly the same story. So I knew at a young age I wasn't athletically gifted enough to be a footballer. So that's when I knew I understood the game, wanted to get in coaching. But before I did that, I wanted to go and have a bit of fun, and I captain coached a team in the Connecticut Wildcats in the USA. So that was my last playing days.
So you were player coach there at Connecticut, up the northeast of the United States. Tell us about the rugby league scene in the US.
Only loved ones turned up to the game, but they were passionate. There was a solicitor who owned the club at the time. He was an American, loved rugby league. And he was trying to get Australians there to help develop the game, coach the Americans on how to understand the rules better and the ins and outs of the game. And I had this big book of all this thing I was going to do. I wrote it all down. This is how I'm going to coach them. And after the first session, I threw it in the bin because it was just not simpler enough, really. And I learned about coaching on my first night, actually.
I hope he was down in Vegas last weekend.
He probably was, Rich. Yeah, he probably was.
So how did I guess that's where your journey as a coach began.
Yep.
As player coach up there at Connecticut.
Yep.
You've also coached in the UK as well.
Yep.
As well as Australia. So what sort of differences or styles did you notice between the two hemispheres?
I think just culturally, like everyone's different. So like between England, even America, Australia here, a group of players come together and there's cultural differences. But at the end of the day, they all want the same thing. They want honesty, they want feedback, and they want to get better. But then how you address them and the individual, I feel is different. It's no worse or better. It's just how you go about coaching them. But yeah, it's been a great experience for me, and I think having those 4 different cultures has certainly helped me where I am now.
This isn't your first dance with the Wars,
no.
Right? And we'll get to that soon.
Yeah.
For now, can we just look at your time with the West Tigers?
Yep.
There was drama from the outset.
Yep.
A new coach, only 3 games into the season, the announcement, the departure of a number of key players. How did you deal with that?
Yeah, that was a tough period. It was also a good period because I learned a lot about myself, dealing with pressure. I was in the media for the first time as a head coach. I was an interim coach there for a couple of games, and then Ivan Cleary came along and he took over as coach, and he steadied the ship, got us back on track, and I got to learn so many different ways to do it, and it helped me eventually learn the way I wanted to do it. But I knew during that period, that tough time, that it's not going to get any harder than this. So if I'm going to enjoy this and enjoy the pressure and enjoy this environment, then I think I'm good enough to do it one day.
They say you learn more from your mistakes or your losses than you do from your wins. Does that mean you learnt more at Campbelltown and Leichhardt than you did at Penrith?
I think I learnt way more at Penrith about, I confirmed what I thought would work. They confirmed it for me. The way they did it in such a professional operation, and the way they coached and the way the players bought in, I thought that 100% just confirmed this is what I thought it should look like. And I definitely learnt how to get even better at that. At the Tigers, you're right, at Campbelltown, Leichhardt, when it's tough and you're losing, you learn, I don't want to do it this way. I wouldn't do it this way if I was a coach. You learn a lot during those tough times. So, yeah, enjoyed it.
You mentioned Ivan Cleary.
Yep.
You must have impressed him at the Tigers.
Yep.
Because he dragged you along to Penrith.
Yep.
So, I guess, what was your relationship like with Ivan?
Yeah, it was really good. I was lucky. Ivan was living in Penrith. I was living in Penrith, and we had a 40-minute drive to Concord Oval when we were working at the Tigers. So we'd carpool every now and then, and got to know Ivan on a personal level. Obviously, I thought we got along really well. We're really good friends. Friends with my wife's friends with his wife Beck, so it's a good relationship, and the whole family. So I feel like that helps, but I felt like we saw rugby league pretty similar. We had a good relationship on and off the field, and he's a mentor of mine even today.
Ivan, of course, was a coach of the Warriors previously, and we used to see Nathan running around with the boys down at Mount Smart.
Yep.
A few years' time, we were going to see Max running around with the boys down at Mount Smart as well.
The only difference is Max is 9 months old. If he's running around with the boys, which I hope he is, that means I'm here for a long time. So, but that, I'm sure that's pretty special. I know Nathan still has a soft spot for the Warriors from his time here as a ball boy, and I know Ivan's always passionately spoken about the place. So, he actually gave me some advice about coming, so that made the decision easier. Yeah.
You mentioned him as a mentor. Who else, I guess, in your life has been a mentor or an influence on you?
Oh, my parents and my brother and sister. I think when you're young, your heroes are always a sporting star or like a cricketer, like I said, like Alan Border, or your favourite player. But when you get older and you realise everything they do for you and how much you're a reflection on them, from them, I should say, you start realising that they're the heroes and they're the ones that I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. Taking me to training, giving me support, letting me chase my dreams. The biggest things my parents have always said, find something you're passionate about and make it a career, and if you do that, then you're always going to be happy.
Can you talk to us about your first stint here at the Warriors?
Yep.
Not quite as successful as this one, like with results on the field. So you finished outside the 8 both times. I think 6 points outside the 8, 2015.
Yep.
And it probably would have been similar the next year if the Eels weren't deducted a whole heap of points for salary cap issues. But what do you feel around your time?
I loved it. That's why I wanted to come back. Yeah, I thought the people were great. I feel like we definitely had different success at different times during those years, but we didn't piece it together for the full season for different reasons. I can remember we beat Melbourne at home halfway through the year. We were coming fourth. And then the next week, Sean went out and broke his leg and missed the last 8-9 games of the season. I don't think we won another game on the run home. So they're not excuses, but I felt like I learned a lot during the time of Andrew McFadden and the players. And I knew one thing for sure is I loved the club. And when I left, I thought if I ever get the opportunity, I'd love to come back here.
Right, let's look at now.
Yep.
And what's gone so right so fast? Is it from everything that you've learnt so far through your career that you're now employing in the season just gone by and the upcoming season?
Yeah, I think what's gone right is a number of things. I think things that I haven't bought. I mean, one is I think everyone's happier. They've got stability. So they're home in New Zealand. They actually get to live where they actually signed up to play for them. And we had players last year that had signed a 3-year contract with the Warriors and never actually lived in Auckland. So I just feel like stability. I felt like the club had already signed some really good players, some new players last year. So I was very grateful for that. And when I looked at coming here, I thought I would like to work with those players. And then, arrived and had a great staff. I felt like there was passion. I felt like there was a real reset button. So everyone was real optimistic. And the players bought in from day one. I think the players are the things we should be celebrating here, because the biggest thing I thought from day one is they lacked confidence, didn't really believe in themselves. And I wanted to ensure that we as a staff believed in them, loved them. And we thought if they bought in and we did it all together, we could actually achieve something special. And from day one, I haven't seen anything different. And we've put ourselves in a position now where the whole country loves us, which I think is something to celebrate. But we've got a lot of hard work to go.
With that success
Yep.
comes expectation.
Yep.
Now, last season, there was hope.
Yep.
I wouldn't have called it expectation though.
No.
In fact, there are a number of punters across the ditch who were calling you as the wooden spooners, the
Yep.
faves.
Yep.
And even this upcoming season, there are still pundits across the ditch who don't have you making the 8.
Yep.
There's a lot of expectation this side of the ditch though. So
Yep.
how do you deal with the pressure that comes with that?
I think the expectation last year was we're going to run last. So there's always expectation. It was a negative one, wasn't it? Now it's a positive one. Everyone's getting caught up in the pressure. I think if you want to be successful in anything, you want to enjoy the pressure. And that's why I took this job. Like, I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I wanted to be a part of it, and I wanted that challenge. I think the way we're looking at it is if people are putting expectation on you and think you are going to do well, then that's a good thing. But it actually doesn't mean anything until you actually go out and play and you win and you prove yourself. And I think we're at a stage where we want to walk towards that. We want to enjoy it and embrace it. And if all of New Zealand wants us to win and thinks we can win, then we're proud of that. Rather than looking at it as a negative and putting pressure on our shoulders, we're actually excited about the challenge. And I think we should be spoken about. Like, we played really well last year, but at the same stage, we've got to back it up now and we've got to do the job. And we're not going to put any added pressure on ourselves. We're going to enjoy the moment and go after it.
We've got a whole heap of young talent here in
Yep.
New Zealand, just oozing potential. You've had success at SG ball level with the West Tigers.
Yep.
So there must be something that you do that resonates well with younger players.
Yep.
What do you think that is?
I don't know. I think when I coached them at that age, then I was a young coach myself. I'm not saying I'm 100 years old or anything like that, but I feel like I could probably relate to them a little bit. When I coached at that level, I'd been a coach at Super League level for a long time, so I'd learned a lot of lessons and I could bring that back and relate to them. Young people, they excite me. You know, they're so ambitious. They got all ahead of them. I think you'll find with your own kids that the growth is quick and fast. As an older player, the growth is gradual. So I think it's exciting if you put time and effort to them. You can see a real bang for your time really quickly. And I just think we've got an unbelievable talent right across this country. And if we put time and effort into them, then we're going to see some real growth. And I think that's what the club's trying to do. I mean, Cameron George and Mark Robinson are really big on the juniors here, and they want to make sure that kids never leave this country, and they've got a pathway here at the Warriors. And yeah, I'm excited about that.
You're current Dally M Coach of the Year.
Yeah, current.
You've won multiple titles with Penrith.
Yep.
Reflecting back on your career so far,
Yep.
what have been some of the most memorable moments or achievements?
Look, winning Dally M Coach of the Year was unbelievable. It was a great feeling. But it was also it was 4 days after was the NRL Grand Final, and I couldn't help but feel I wish we were there. And I had mixed emotions about it because I was getting an award for something the players have gone out and done, and two, I was getting an award when there was two coaches that were about to get an opportunity to try and win a grand final. So I felt great about it, but at the same time, I would have traded it for an NRL grand final opportunity. There's lots of different moments. Winning a grand final special. It's amazing. My captain coach at Connecticut Wildcats, we made the grand final and got beaten, and I can tell you that was as hard as it's ever felt. So, and everyone would say I think there was probably 200 people there that day watching that, and it certainly wasn't on television. So, it doesn't always have to be the big moments on television where everyone can see it. But my proudest moment at the Warriors was the semi-final. I went out on the field, heard the crowd sing the team song, and I had goosebumps. And I was really proud of the boys, and I was just proud of the whole country, and particularly everyone that turned up at Mount Smart, that they could create an atmosphere like that and be so proud of the boys.
I was lucky enough to be at that semi-final. The atmosphere was just absolutely crazy.
Crazy.
What sort of effect do you think that has on the team when the crowd is just 100% behind you?
Huge.
And loud?
Yeah, huge. Yeah, the boys would never. How do I say this? There's different reasons why they play. They play for the family. They play because they love the game. They play because of the camaraderie of their teammates. But they love it when they rock up and they see a whole country and a whole 30,000 people behind them, and they're as loud as any ground in the NRL. So I think they're really proud of what they've achieved, and they're just so happy with the fact that everyone wants to get behind them. But there's a different buzz about Mount Smart. It's the energy that the fans bring are different. You could put 30,000 and different fans in our stadium, wouldn't sound the same. We've got a unique fan base, and it's pretty cool.
We're only a few days out from the first game of the season for the Warriors up against the Sharks. How do you approach the season? Do you break it down into blocks and go, we want to be here at this stage, or how do you go about that?
It's boring, but no, just want to win this game. We've got a thing about we win every day. So we have competitions, we set little milestones in the next training session we do, just so focused on that. If you put all your effort into what's happening on Friday and not on what's going to happen tomorrow, you'll turn up on Friday and get your bum kicked, because simply you haven't improved that week and you haven't got better. So we talk so hard about winning the next day. Can we beat each other at training? Can we compete hard enough? And if we do that, then on Friday it'll take care of itself. It's not going to be easy on Friday. We're playing a very good team, but we know that we've got to worry about what we do tomorrow to make sure we're better on Friday. So we don't break the season up. And once this game's over, win, lose or draw, we'll be real consistent with the way we look at it. What did we do well? What did we do poor? And then we'll go after the next victory.
Being an NRL head coach, it's not your normal 9 to 5, Monday to Friday job.
No.
How do you balance the demands of coaching with family life? You've got a young family?
Yeah. No, I think, well, first of all, they're a great distraction. And I mean that in a good way. You come home and my wife doesn't love rugby league. She couldn't care anything about it. She only cares about me and am I happy and am I enjoying it. And we don't come home and sit at the dinner table and talk about who did what and how it went. So that's really nice. And then you've got a 9-month-old son who just wants to cuddle and just wants to play. So it's pretty easy to get away from it. And other hobbies and friends and socialising, that's my favourite thing in the world to do. So I'm passionate about my job and I love it, but it doesn't go everywhere with me.
You mentioned hobbies, but when you do have spare time, what do you get up to?
If I had time, I'd love to play a game of golf. But I say that, and I've played once since I've been in New Zealand, so I've got to twice actually. But I love horse racing. Yeah, I own a racehorse back in Australia. There's a lot of staff and players that enjoy the sport as well. So just love following that in my spare time, and I don't even need to have a bet on a race. I could watch it all day and enjoy the fact of a horse, a bit like sport, improving or getting better, or just how the trainers prepare them. It's amazing.
What's the name of your horse? Who trains it?
Iron Will. It's trained in Goulburn. Tash Burley trains it. Yeah, it's won a couple of races. It's won a race at Randwick in town, which was a big thrill. So yeah, it goes all right.
Were you on track to see that?
I wasn't. I was over here. I was in my lounge room screaming, but I was there for its first race start at Goulburn. So we got $21 that day. So I was pretty happy with that.
one Swaz fans see this, we're going to get absolutely smashed every time Ivan goes round.
It'll be favourite.
You better get on early if you want to get the good odds. I think we've already touched on this already, but can you just tell us some of the biggest challenges you've faced as a coach?
Yep.
Not just here.
Yep.
But anywhere.
Yeah, I think biggest challenges I face as a coach, probably some of the biggest mistakes I've made, is probably copying and pasting the way I've seen something done. I can remember I won that under-18s, or sorry, we did. We won the under-18s title with the Tigers. And I progressed and coached the under-20s at Parramatta the next season under Ricky Stewart when he was the head coach there. And I can remember I took exactly what I did with that team and implemented it with the next team. But they were a completely different group of players and they had different skill sets and strengths and weaknesses. And it was just complete failure. Yeah. I have so many regrets about that, and I learned so much about it, that each group of players is unique and you can't design what you want to do based on what you enjoy as a coach. You've got to do it based around what's going to suit them and how you're going to help them flourish. And yeah, I learned a lot from that. You
signed up until 2028, and
yep.
Hopefully we see an extension past that as well.
Yep.
But just to 2028, you must be enjoying your time in New Zealand so far.
Love it. Yeah, that's why I wanted to come back. My wife and I enjoyed it last time we were here. We just bought a house, so yeah, we're really happy. We're settled. We've had a great summer of weather, a bit better than the one before, and yeah, we enjoy it. We love the people, we love the culture. Yeah, and it's somewhere where we don't want to leave. We want to be part of the Warriors and part of this culture forever.
Looking towards the business end of the season.
Yep.
Where would you like to be?
Yeah, on top.
Minor premiers?
Oh, why not? Yeah. I mean, that's not a goal. The goal is to win the grand final. And that's going to be the goal every year. I'm going to get asked it every year. Going to get asked halfway through the season. It is the same goal every year. We're here to win the grand final. And if you work for a club and that is not your goal and that's not where you want to get to, then you're kidding yourself. But it's not the focus of us every day. It's the bit that drives us. But like I said, is the next bit is how can we win tomorrow. So, but yeah, if you ask me where do I want to be, I want to win as many games as possible. And if we do that, we're going to be minor premiers. But yeah, it's not that easy.
Looking at the team, you've had a couple of pre-season games, come through that nicely.
Yep.
Training-wise, is there any player that or players that have stuck out and you've just gone, wow, I didn't expect you to come back this season like that?
Yeah. It's not that I didn't expect them to come back like that, but I think our senior players have come back in really good condition. They're pros, so I knew they would, but I feel like the way they've gone about the challenge of wanting to get better, even though they're at the back end of their career and they're very experienced, they're great players, but you can see why they're good players. They want to get so much better and they're hungry for success. So I feel like they've driven our culture really well. I think Roger and Chanel are quite obvious ones. Roger, obviously been away for league for so long, has come back and fit in like a glove. And I feel like he's learnt a hell of a lot about rugby league again and the way we do it, because it's certainly different to the way he did it last time he was here. And he's playing a different position. And Chanel Tavita-Harris is really impressed. I mean, he's had 12 months off where he hasn't done any professional sport. He's travelled the world and he's come back into our environment and he's done really well. And Kurt Capewell, been super impressed. Worked with him before, but he's done really well how to fit in with our group and how to add value. So pretty excited about him.
I don't want you to make a prediction. Well, you'd say grand final straight away. Ridiculous. And I'd love to see it. In fact, I think it's going to happen myself.
Right.
But if you don't get there,
yep.
How would you look back on the season?
I can't answer that because I don't know how I'm going to feel at the time. I don't know how many ups and downs we're going to have. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be a roller coaster regardless. I know that. It's not going to be all smooth sailing. Last year, we lost the major semi-final and I felt like we let ourselves down and we had a great year. So if we don't win, it's not going to be where we want to be. But I'll be consistent with how I reflect on everything and I look back and say, considering the circumstances, how did we do? How did we attack it? What would I change? What would I celebrate? But I'll always be consistent with that, because I'm not going to be clouded by the end result, but we're here to win. And anything short of that is not what we want. But how we review it and look at it, I can only tell you when that happens.
Well, finally, just looking ahead, what are the goals and aspirations you have for this team and for yourself?
I just want continued success at this club. I just want every year. It's not like, is it our year? Everyone just turns up. I know the Warriors are going to turn up. They're going to try so hard. They're going to give their best. They're going to be so competitive. And as a result, we know we're going to be there at finals time every year, and we're going to give ourselves a chance to win it. That's the dream. And how do we do that dream is that every kid in New Zealand thinks, I want to play for that club. Like, I don't want there to be a seat empty ever at Mount Smart Stadium. Like, I just don't. And we've got the best fans, but I want even more for them. You know, and I just want to take the game on the road all the way around New Zealand. Like, that Christchurch trial was unbelievable. The atmosphere and the feeling. There was 5 minutes to go. We had all our kids on the field. We had 12 men, and it was like, you want to be here. This is what you want to be a part of. And that's the dream. Winning grand finals is certainly part of it. That's what we're all chasing. But I think there's more to it than that. There's more of a vision for this team in this country, and that's what we're going to try to achieve.
You've arguably got the toughest job in New Zealand now. The number one job in New Zealand right now.
Yep.
So we wish you all the best for the season.
Thank you.
It's been great talking to Andrew Webster, head coach of the New Zealand Warriors and all-round nice guy.
Oh, thank you. Not many say that about me. So. Thank you.
Brilliant.